Sahana Vavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Saha Viryankaravavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Birth and death means change. If it is change, if there is change, the question is there anything that is changeless? It is a natural question that comes to the human intelligence. You cannot not ask this. Sir, if everything is changing, you mean to say that there is there anything changeless in the world? So Vedanta says yes, but then to understand the changeless aspect, you have to inquire into the changing phenomena. By probing more and more into the changing phenomena, there's a possibility for you to unearth the changeless dimension is there. So there we ask this question, say, if there is changing on one hand, on the other hand, there is a changeless entity, how is it possible that these two things can be mixed together? Is there a possibility that these two coexist? If they are parallelly existing, what is the connection? Isn't it a paradoxical to see? There Vedanta says, yes, the spirit component in you is a changeless phenomenon, and the matter component in you is a changing phenomenon. What accounts for changing is matter. What accounts for changeless is the spirit. The only problem is you see the changes that is happening, but you strive to keep the changing to be changeless. That's where the error is. So once you understand this, there is no problem. The core of your personality is changeless. The only mistake, he says, is somehow you want to get back to the changeless state. And all that is known to you is only the changing phenomenon, matter. Therefore, all the effort is directed in this space. Where is there a possibility for us to transform the changing matter into a changeless substratum? Vedanta says, not possible, number one. Number two, not necessary. Why it is not necessary? Because there is already an entity in you which is changeless. So all that you have to do is associate with that. And then the law of life works, law of karma works. As you think, so you shall become. So if you identify more and more here, identify with the spirit, you become the spirit. Identify with matter, you become matter. It's as simple as that. So then we move on to the further extension of it. Now, why birth itself? Why death itself is happening? Now we are discussing into the other aspect of what is our concept of birth and death. Right? Our concept of birth and death is you are supposed to be born when the physical body appears. You are supposed to be dead when your physical body goes. So the physical body's birth is taken as your birth. That's why you have your birthday celebrations, isn't it? What is your birthday? We give birthday. What is the birth date of yours? Physical body appeared. Appearance of the body is what is treated as birth. Then understood is when there is death of your body is treated as your death. So that phenomena, which is according to us. So he starts analyzing that part of it. If you say, yes, that is the case of it, then what all the questions that we need to ask, how do you answer one by one? There are very many questions associated with this we need to ask. Of course, he is not going to be asking all that here. Some of it he is asking which are most essential ones. And here and there he gives a lead and goes away. No, he just sprinkles it and just goes. In Tamil, there's a nice way of putting it across. That is how masters teach. The teaching of masters would be like that. So he just gives a clue here, a clue there. And then we need to take that thread and continue the investigation. So some of it he elaborates, some of it he just hints and passes by. Then we take it up and study that elaborately. So that is how we do this. So here next question comes is this. Now what is this? Death. What is this birth? What is happening at the time of death? What is happening at the time of birth? And what is that understanding leads to? The inquiry into the phenomenon of birth, inquiry into the phenomenon of death leads to a particular conclusion. That conclusion is called the theory of reincarnation. Right? That's what he is going to do now. So we'll just go through paragraph by paragraph, or sometimes you may have to, study two paragraphs together also, right? So just have to be, little watchful for that. Okay. Yes. Theory of reincarnation.
Page 285, Theory of Reincarnation. What happens when a person dies? His gross body perishes in that form. The material of the body merges with earth. Science declares that something cannot pass into nothing. The law of indestructibility of matter, the law of conservation of energy states it. The same law would apply to the subtle body as well. The subtle body of the person comprises his thought, feeling, and desire, the resultant of his mental and intellectual forces, his inner energy comprising subtle matter. Applying the same law to the subtle body, you would realize that its energy cannot vanish into nothing at the time of death. In this world, there are innumerable deaths occurring every day and innumerable births. The mental energies of those persons cannot disappear or appear all of a sudden. That would be against the established law of science.
See, first he explains what is happening at the time of death. We have seen earlier the human composition. What is a human being? He said human being is a combination of spirit plus matter. Matter is of two types. One is gross matter, another one is subtle matter, which is what is referred as gross body, subtle body, causal body. There are three bodies are there, three stages are there for the matter. In that, first thing he says is this. At the time of death, what is the case, sir? The body is there and that body disintegrates and disappears over a period of time. Okay, it doesn't happen immediately, it just happens over a period of time, slowly. First, there are body is made up of what? Body is made up of 5 elements. In fact, 4 elements. and it occupies space. Right. So we say it is 5 elements. First thing to leave is the fire element. Then slowly air goes away, and then water goes away. Then even the material, earth, also goes away. All that disappears. Where it disappears? When you ask that question, science gives one principle. It says, body being matter, and it is already established by science that matter cannot be destroyed. Matter can only be transformed. It just changes from one to another. And we can give enough number of evidences for that. They give that proof. Water converts into vapor, vapor gets in. All these things we have studied in, in 7th standard, chemistry, we have studied all that. So now we don't have to go into those details. But essentially what he's saying is, all this is, if body, which is made up of matter, follows a particular rule, the same rule has to be applicable for the subtle body also. Because subtle body is also made up of the same 5 elements only. Gross aspect of, now don't ask me to explain all this, okay? Right, all these things we have studied in under that topic, human composition. Okay, so those who are viewing this video for the first time, those who have come to the class for the first time, go to that chapter and read there. Now I can't explain all that here again. Gross body is made up of gross elements. Subtle body is made up of subtle elements. But the elements are 5 only. Space, air, fire, water, earth. These are the 5 elements. The 5 elements has got 2 stages to it, 2 aspects to it. One is the gross, another one is the subtle. Right? How this happens and all those things are all explained in the text called Atma Bodha. There is a textbook called Atma Bodha. There he explains how this subtle elements transform itself and becomes a gross element, called the process of Panchikarana. To translate that, it is a process referred to as a process of self-division and mutual combination. So there is a step, there is a process that goes through, right? So through that process, the subtle elements had become the gross elements now. Same way, the combination of the gross elements makes up your physical body, gross body. Same way, the combination of your subtle elements makes up your subtle body. If the gross body is also matter, subtle body also matter. In the gross body, we have already established a law. What? It doesn't get destroyed. It just only changes the form. That's about it. Nothing else happens to it. When we say, then the same rule goes to subtle body also, subtle matter also. What is a subtle matter? Subtle matter, the subtle body. Subtle body is what? Body, mind, intellect. All your thoughts, your desires. In a simple word, we'll say all your desires. And the desires is that energy which is driving this gross body to various things. So gross body has energy, subtle body also has energy. Gross body's energy is what we call as kinetic energy. This energy, these are all perceptible energies. The subtle body's energy is thought energy. Even your thoughts have a power to move. Energy means the power to move. It is the power of your thought that moves your body. The desire. Now you come and sit in the class because you have that desire for learning Vedanta. Otherwise, you will not be sitting here. So what brought it here is that it is the power of your desire. And your body should have that capacity to take steps, walk, come, sit, all that. See? Suppose if your body is incapable, let's say, then what will happen? You cannot be in the class. So all this is happening. So we see two phenomena happening. One, we see people are dying, body disintegrating, and the body is transforming itself into something else, which we may know, we may not know, we can register, we can not register. If you go through that particular experimentation and all that, you can find out what has happened to that body, where it has gone and all that. Now here, but we know for certain it has. Same way, he says, the subtle energy, the thought energy has disappeared. If you say it is against the established principle. This is observation plus inference. We use both. You observe and you infer. The inference is this. Through observation, through established principles, we have arrived at a particular inference. He is just keeping it aside. Says that would be wrong to say. So that means sudden disappearance. First thing he says is there is no such thing called disappearance. Now we can understand if disappearance is not possible, what about appearance? Sudden appearance also not possible. Sudden disappearance also not possible. This is one idea. We just take this idea and keep it aside. Then we move to further thinking, further analysis, right? Continue.
Life is a series of experiences. The progression of life is determined by desires. Desires drive you from one experience to another. In philosophic terms, an experience is dead and another is born at every moment. Thus, your desires drive you through a continuous procession of birth and death. This procession will continue in perpetuity until the desires are eradicated from your personality. Desires are the cause and the experiences of life are the effect. At the moment of death, a person is left with innumerable unfulfilled desires. He may vanish from your sight, but that does not mean that his desires are extinct. The desires have to be eradicated to prevent further manifestation. The cause has to be removed to erase the effect. When the desires are completely exhausted, the cycle of birth and death ends. That is the state of self-realization, God realization.
Continue.
Thus, numerous desires of different sorts remain unfulfilled when people die. At the time of their death, these desires have not been exhausted. It would be irrational to presume that all of them disappear into nothing. Now, look at the world from another angle. Different types of people are born with distinct tendencies, inclinations, desires. Every human being enters the world with his pattern of thought, feeling, desire. And people are born with a variety of desires. These variegated desires could not have emerged from nowhere. To accept that they have come out of nothing would again be as irrational as to presume that they disappear suddenly. Such presumptions would be violating the code of science. Hence, the great thinkers of the past make a careful scrutiny of this world and found hordes and hordes of desires disappearing and appearing perennially. After a thorough investigation of this phenomenon, they brilliantly connected the unaccounted gain of desires of the born to the unaccounted loss of desires of the dead. a sheer audit of the accounts of life. They applied the law of causation, which governs the entire universe at all times, took the desires of the dead as the cause and linked them to the desires of the born as the effect. This observation is in accordance with the law of indestructibility of matter, the law of causation, the law of karma. This ingenious correlation of cause and effect projects the theory of reincarnation. It is only a scientific deduction from the available data, but cannot be proved experimentally, hence presented as a theory.
That's why it's called a theory. Is it? So, beautiful sequence of thoughts. Yes. Life means experiences. What is driving you to move from experience to experience? The driving force of life is desires. So, when a person dies, what happened to all the desires that the person had? Suddenly, no expression. Now, here we ask a basic question about the desires. There are so many things we need to understand about desires here. The moment you have a desire, you cannot not experience it. And to experience that desire, you need a physical body. Without a physical body, a desire can never be experienced. Then we ask another question. Does experiencing a desire equals to fulfillment of a desire? Eradication of a desire? If that is the case, you have a desire to eat a chocolate. You eat the chocolate. After that, you should never get that desire to eat that chocolate again. Isn't it? Now you have a desire, means to experience that desire, you need a body. Without the body, you can never have a completion to that desire. So here we see a person who has a lot of desire, but suddenly that body is taken out of equation. Right? A young boy, it actually happened to one of my friends. Next month is his wedding. He has gone to collect that wedding invitation from the printer's office. He goes. He is collecting that thing, and on his way back, he met with an accident, passed away. Now, I know for certain he had a couple of desires, to my knowledge. How many he had and all, I don't know. But I know few desires of his. He had the desire to have a huge pharmacy, come medical facility, plus we can have this dialysis center, and how this has to be done, how that has to be done, and where all he wanted to go and see. His greatest ambition in life is to go to Taj Mahal, he said. If at least once I should visit Taj Mahal. I said, definitely, Dad. Don't worry, I will take you, I told him. And then not to talk about what all he had the idea of marriage and child and career and family, this. So many desires he had. For all that desires, he needed a body. Now, suddenly, the body is gone. What happened to all that desires? It's just hanging there, you see. You can't say all the desires also got eliminated, deleted. You cannot say that because already we have established. Not possible. Then you see on the other side, so many people taking birth with very many desires of their own. From where they get that desire, no clue we have. No signs of anything. But they have desires. So many ambitions. So many aspirations they have. They have their own wishes. And each one have got their own taste. One person says dosa should be thick. Another person says dosa means it should be so thin. Their own likes, their own dislikes. I wanted coffee with froth. One fellow says, another fellow says coffee should be coming without froth. From where that desire came to that person? How that has come? So one side, we see people having certain desires, certain tendencies, certain drives appearing from nowhere. Same way, on the other hand, we see desires, tendencies, drives disappearing into nothing. All that they said was simple logic. Morning, I see sunrise. Evening, I see sunset. Sun disappeared. Sun appeared, I experience, and I experience the disappearance of sun. And next day morning, the sun appears again. That means what? During that interval, between this disappearance and reappearance, sun must have existed somewhere, right? You cannot say suddenly sun disappeared. Disappeared from my eyes, correct. I am not able to see that. But the person who is sitting in United States says what? Not disappeared, just now appeared actually. And both of us will have a constant fight. So one hand we see this, other hand we see that also. So both are happening. Therefore, we infer, stating the sun must have been existing in some place. He should be continue to have existed in that place. Because of that only the reappearance is happening. This is the inference of us. Same logic we are applying here. What is suddenly disappearing here and what is suddenly appearing here are tallying. They tally. But unlike the sun example, here one problem is there. What is the problem? The way sun disappeared is the way sun appears again. Right? Next day, sun is not appearing in rectangle. Suddenly, sun is not appearing in some other shape, in some other form. It is appearing in the same form. In our case, this is one aspect which is possible for us to account here. Desires disappearing and desires appearing. This is what has appeared there, we cannot account. And say, pinpoint it and say, this, not possible. All that you can say is, in totality, it is balancing. If it is not balancing, then you are flouting the fundamental principle which we established in the first paragraph. So the indestructibility of matter is the foundation principle on which we account for the apparent disappearance and apparent appearance of this energy. Here comes a fascinating points out of it. Out of this, we derive points one by one. First thing we said, if you have a desire, you cannot stay with the desire. You have to have that body for you to experience it. What type of body you will have is dependent upon what type of desire you are entertaining. Right? What type of things depends on what your desires are. So as your desires, so is going to be. Then comes a fascinating one. Sir, if entire life is going to be defined by my desires, then the problem is everybody wants to be rich. Right? Everybody wants to be rich only, and nobody desires poverty. Isn't it? No one desires, I want to be poor. Nobody desires that. But then explain that no. This is how we study Vedanta. Immediately, we ourselves will raise objections. We don't wait for people. Ideally speaking, that is how the study is supposed to be done. The student asks question, teacher gives answer. That is how it is done. Right? Our condition is today that we don't even know what to ask. Our problem is, okay, whatever you say seems to be correct only. No, what to ask? One fellow told me this. You are telling me that you got to question, you have to question. The problem is, to me, whatever you are speaking seems to be correct only. Then what to ask there? What question to ask there? I said, okay, now shall we, reverse the role, I said. I will ask question, you give answer. He said, no, that I will not agree. No role change, Allah. I do, He said, Ishwara, I understand that, but then what you have to do is, you yourself ask the question, you yourself give the answer. I said, that is how they give, that is how they study. That's how the subject itself is studied here. They themselves will raise the objection. And then they give an explanation to it. This is how they explain. That's why it is an investigative subject. You got to reflect. You got to think along with it. If you are not thinking, then you are finished. You say, desire is only, sir. If desire is what is driving the whole thing, then how do you explain? I'm not wanting to be poor. Nobody wants to be poor. But then we want. Vedanta says, yes, my dear, wait. Pause a little and think. Say, yes, I want to be rich. But then, what is it true? Who is aspiring for richness? All of us. Correct. Does all of us aspire for the same amount of richness? Vedanta asks the question, why? I hope you are all with me. Okay. First thing we say, correct. It says, everybody aspires for richness, correct. But then, every mind which is desiring richness is not desiring same richness, no. Every one of us have our own concept of richness. You see, oh, there are very rich people, sir. Why? They have curd in their house, I thought like that. I don't want to give anybody examples. I thought one of our relative house, I thought they are all super rich people. You know why? Because they had curd. Who will have curd in the house? It has to be super rich only. This is, so having curd is super rich means, what is the level? You see, it varies, you see, from person to person, the idea of richness varies. 20,000 rupees a month is rich. Meaning, then we ask the question, what is the meaning of richness? What is rich? My idea of richness means what? The idea of richness means he believes, sir, if I were to be having 25,000 rupees, with 25,000 rupees a month, I will be able to solve all my problems. I will not have any problem. If I have 25,000 rupees, one mind thinks like that. Another mind thinks, if I have 2.5 lakhs per month, all my problems can be solved. Another mind says, minimum I require is 15 lakhs. Sir. If 15 lakhs is not there per month, I'm saying. A month without 15 lakhs, how, I don't know, how you how you live. Now, suppose if you give him 10 lakhs, now the person who is aspiring 25,000 rupees, when he looks at this man who says, without 15 lakhs, how to live? I don't know how to live. I can't manage. I can't meet my ends. This man will say that man to be what? It's a greedy fellow. Why do you need 15 lakhs? Right? If I were to have that same 15 lakhs for another 5 years, I don't have to do any work. In fact, I will deposit that in the bank. With the interest, I will live my life, man. I can live, no problem. I don't have to work anywhere. I can retire straight away and attend all your classes. Correct. This is what you will genuinely feel. Now, Vedanta says, no. Wait, don't jump in. Richness that you think of, what you desire. I wanted to make so much of money. That varies according to which mind is making it. To one mind, 20,000. Another mind, 20 lakhs. Now, who is the standard now? If you keep 20,000 as a standard, then 20 lakhs will be what? Greedy. If you take 20 lakhs as a standard, 20,000 below poverty line. So we have a calculation. Somewhere somebody said, in India, below poverty line means if you are earning, less than 50 rupees a day, you are supposed to be below poverty line. So if you are earning 52 rupees, 55 rupees per day means you are above poverty line. I said, no. So each country has their own. I'm not saying, okay, suppose if you take, okay, sir, from 50, we have brought it to 1,000. per day 1,000 rupees earning. I said, does it make a difference? It is according to whom? According to my mind, my idea of making money, he says. That's what he means by desires not being exhausted. Means it's not completed. Why it is not completed? Because you have your own concept of money. Now, one may say this, another may say that. Each one says one thing. Now, what is so interesting with Vedanta is telling that one person who says, I want 25,000 rupees per month, to him, Vedanta gives one jolt. That will not be fulfilled. To another man who says, I want 2.5 lakhs, Vedanta to him says, you will not get that 2.5 lakhs. That you will not be able to achieve. That you will not be able to get. So what happens when you are entertaining desires? Point number 1 to remember this depends on who, which mind is entertaining that desire. Point number 1. Point number 2, with reference to the desires, is by nature the desires are many branched. By nature, desire can never have a single direction. Nature, it is multi-directional. So what if you ask, the problem is when you are entertaining that desire, you are entertaining the contrary also along with that. So you take one step forward, contrary happens automatic. What is it? You have taken one step back. You take one step forward, you have taken one step back. One step forward, one step back. One step. You have been walking whole day. But where are you? In the same place. Nothing has happened. And you are tired and you are exhausted. That is what happens to every human. That's where you die, you collapse. And again, what happens? You start walking. Walk. How you walk? You never walk in one direction. You always walk along with the contrary. Every step that you take the contrary step. Every one you love is the one you hate also. It is impossible for you to entertain love without hating that person. You see, the problem is we never register, we never recognize it. You see, Vedanta says that is your problem. But look into your own life. All those people who you thought were your close friends in school, do you remember their name now? I'm not talking about Alzheimer's, please. In fact, they'll remember that. Now, current only they will not remember. Actually, old only they will remember. What happened yesterday, they will not remember. Right? You don't even know what happened to all that love. That love has transformed into what? Total indifference. Tremendous love has transformed itself into indifference. And you can never have that in one direction. It will just keep branching out. Every desire branches out to something else, becomes something else. I'm sure all of you must have heard this story of a bachelor boy. Bachelor boy story. One of the fascinating story for me. I get inspired with that story. This bachelor boy who had to go for his final exams. His mother said, look here, I know the way you have studied, you are not going to pass the exams. The only chance you have is go and pray to Lord Shiva. He will bless you, you will pass the exam. So this boy went to Lord Shiva. And Shiva appeared. And the boy asked, look here, I'm going for exam, pass. Shiva said, don't worry, pass. He wrote the exam, he came back, results came, passed the exam. And then he goes for interview. Interview after interview after interview. If you pass like this, who will give you a job? Okay. Then the only option you have is what? Now this fellow knows the formula. His mother has already told him what to do. So again he went to Lord Shiva. I'm going for interview job. Shiva said, don't worry, I will inform that fellow. Go and tell him. You just have to go and attend the interview. He will select. And this fellow goes to the interview, selected. And good post. And he was so happy. He's living, year passed, 2 years passed. After 3 years of working, what is the next problem now? Say, they are looking for alliance. And it's very difficult to get a girl for this guy. The rejection happens from both sides now. Okay. And the tragedy is the rejection is happening more from the other side. Okay. They go for one meeting. They say, we will meet in cafe coffee day. They go and sit in that coffee shop. Sit, have coffee, have conversation. While going, the girl says, I will pay for it, don't worry. She pays for it and walks out. When a girl pays, what you need to understand? Gatam gatam. That's what the meaning of it. It's over. If she is not, then she will say, she will wait for you to pay. These are clues. If she's waiting for you to make the payment, understanding is this. Okay, there's a chance, further. Every time they go, only they were paying. This fellow is not. But then he goes to Shiva again. Hey man, you have two, I have nobody. He says, don't worry, I'll give you. Tadastu. Next meeting, success. And wonderful girl. He says, it's worth waiting, man, all these years. Fantastic person. The best I could, even if I would have chosen, I would not be like this. It's your choice. Best choice that you have made for me. Thanks. And they go, they continue. After 2-3 years, another problem starts. No child. Again, they try all the methods. His wife says, hey, what is your problem, man? You have a friend. We'll go and ask him. He says, okay, we'll go together and ask him. So they go, they ask. Shiva says, blessings, tadastu, child. After 1 year, they find the child is, after a few months of birth, they realize that the child is deaf and dumb. Now what to do? Straight go to Shiva. No doctors and all that. No medical and all that. Straight go to Shiva. Hey, what is this, man? And the child started crying, started talking, all that. I was so excited. After 2 years, they realize that the child is talking nonsense. So he says, what is this here? Again, this fellow goes to Lord Shiva. What is this, man? The child is talking, all nonsense. Put some sense into him. And Shiva said, okay, put sense into him. The moment he started put sense into that fellow, then the whole problem started in the house. What? Everyday arguments only, no conversation. Everyday fight. What nonsense you are talking, fellow says. All that you talk is rubbish. You're stupid. If a son tells a father, you're stupid, which father will agree? Now he goes to Lord Shiva running again. Hey, what is this man? No respect at all for elders. He doesn't have any values, nothing. Put some good values into him. I put some good values into him. Now that fellow has become such a straightforward, honest person. Wherever he goes, failure only. No, sir. Wherever he goes, he is in trouble. Now, again, this fellow says, Lord Shiva, he's not tired. He will go on giving. He said, do you realize the day today? He said, what is the date today? You realize today? Vaikuntha Ekadasi. Okay. He said, today is the silver jubilee of our association. You remember? This is the same day, 25 years back, you came as a bachelor. Now look at you. Look at this. And suddenly this guy realized, the moment Shiva said, this is why we have the silver jubilee and all that, golden jubilee, silver jubilee and all we have, for this is the reason. To flash back and see. Suddenly he realized, when I met him, I asked only one thing. What is it? To pass the exam. Is that what he desired? It looks like that initially, but factually, what is it? A job is hidden in that. Is that all hidden there? No. A good wife hidden in that. Good partner, spouse. Nowadays you can't say husband, wife, you should not use. You should use always, spouse. That's the problem. Just words, I tell you. There's a beauty for every word. Okay. Too much of involvement with words today. Is that all that he wants? No. It's not just a good spouse I want. I want a good spouse. I want her to have a good marks, good score, which will get me a job, which will lead me to a good partner with whom I will be able to get a good child, a healthy child, intelligent child, also obedient child. I don't know how the two can go together. Either intelligence or obedience. One of it only is possible. Both cannot happen. An intelligent fellow will not be obedient. An obedient fellow will not be intelligent. That's for sure. You can look around. No smart will be obedient. No chance. Means dumb. That's what it means. Can't question anything. And all of you are very obedient students. One desire has, branched off to where you see. Your starting point and the end point you see, it just completely off tangent. There's no connection to this. Suppose if you would have told that boy the first day, hey, ask to Lord Shiva that you wanted to have a intelligent, obedient child. He'll say, why should I want that? I want to get marks. I'm not interested in that. But where he lands finally, and the story doesn't end here. It just goes on and on and on and on. Never stops. Desires are many branched. Is that all, sir? No, says Vedanta. There is another law of life, another law of desire. One aspect of desire, what you need to understand is which mind is entertaining that desire. Depends on which mind, number one. Number two, desires by nature are multidimensional, which means it will be self-cancelling, all that is understood there. Many branch, multidimensional, self-cancelling, all that. Then there is another law of desire. These are all laws of desires. The moment you have desires, all these things will be there. You can't escape. Remember. Another aspect says, desire by nature cannot be fulfilled. Out. Another law of desire is it cannot be fulfilled. No desire can be fulfilled. You can go on experiencing, but your desires will never disappear. It will not go. It will continue to exist. What is the proof of it? This is how we take clues. That when a person loses the body, along with the body, desire also should go. No. We say not possible, sir. Why? Look at your own life. The body has lost its capacity to experience certain tastes, certain things. Like I give this example of my grandmother. I've never seen her with teeth. And I asked my mother also, have you seen grandmother with teeth? She said, I don't remember. I didn't ask my father that, because if I ask him, he will take out all my teeth. You want what mocking at my mother is it? You'll say, my mother is not a problem because that daughter-in-law, mother-in-law issue was there. So it was easy for us to ask, you should know what information to extract from whom. So I asked my mother about her, mother-in-law. He said, mama, yes, no teeth. But she will have muruku. I don't know how you translate muruku in English. Deep fried rice flour, something they make out. I don't know what you call it. It's so interesting to see how she will have this. If you put it, of course, we got mixie after, when I was in college only, we got mixie in the house. Or maybe late school, we got mixie in the house. Before that, we need to pound it. You need to pound that, thing and then give her. So we need to prepare this. We all will be having muruku. We have to pound that, 3-4 murukus together. We have to put and, break it, make it into powder and give her. And she will take the powder and put. I said, what are you eating actually there? That's not muruku. Each dish has a way of eating. Certain things you got to chew. It's like payasam. People have payasam, kheer, South Indian kheer. They'll put that in a tumbler and drink. I say, is this the way to have payasam? Payasam, you are supposed to lick it. You are not supposed to put a straw there and have like, you are supposed to lick that, put it in the plantain leaf. Best is that. Put in a plantain leaf, pour that hot. It should be really hot. Hot payasam, just pour there and take it and lick. That have to lick. The taste is in that, that the smell that you get, the lick that you have. Instead of all that, today I see, you go to the for wedding, if you go, they keep one, plastic tumbler, they keep one. And the fellow pours that. I put here, he looks at me, why? Because people don't know how to eat that. If you pour there, they don't know how to eat. I said, this is how you're supposed to eat. You're supposed to eat payasam in a particular way. There are certain things you are supposed to eat this in a particular way. The tooth is gone, but the desire to have that muruku doesn't go. The body has lost its capacity to take sugar anymore. He says, you cannot have sugar. You have got diabetes. He says, that is a time the fellow says what? The desire for sweet doesn't go away, no. The body loses the power. But the desire is not disappearing, which means presence of desire or absence of desire has got nothing to do with the body's existence or the power of the body. It's independent of it. Therefore, we say, even after death, the desire must be existing. We are not assuming there, please. We are deriving it. This is the difference in Vedanta. It says, look at your own life's experience. And are you having one desire? Two desires? How many desires you are having? And each desire has multi-dimensions. Remember, you take one desire. That's what the example of the story of this bachelor boy shows. One desire you take, many branched, many dimensions it goes. Then comes a shocker from Vedanta. It reveals, it says, no desire can be fulfilled. Which means what? To go through that experience, the presence of the desire will force me to have a body to experience, and each desire will take different dimensions, means different bodies will be required. At least somewhere down the line, will I be able to complete the whole story? No, it is never going to be completed, because by nature, desire cannot be fulfilled. If a desire cannot be fulfilled by nature, what happens? So you cannot just desire one thing. Another law of life states desires by nature cannot be fulfilled. Then we ask the question, sir, what is the meaning of fulfillment? Fulfillment means once it is filled, it is fully filled. That's called fulfillment. Fully filled state. No desire can be saying enough. Thank you. No satiation. No desire can be satiated. Not possible. Don't tell me with so naively, don't tell me, sir, when you give food to a person, he says fulfilled. No. He says fulfilled for half an hour. That is why, South Indians only know how to answer that. After having, 5 gulab jamuns, you give him the 6th gulab jamun, he will not say no. He will say aprama. He will say later. You see, because he knows why in another 45 minutes, I am going to go back to that same situation of what? Same emptiness. Same emptiness is what I'm going to experience. So no desire by nature can be fulfilled. And by definition, desires are self-contradictory. By Definition, desires are multidimensional. By definition, desires necessitate a body to experience. Okay. With all that, you have to study. And he just, simply says, numerous desires of different sorts remain unfulfilled when people die. Now, I'm only decoding what he's saying here. He simply makes one statement. Numerous desires. All of us will say what? Yeah, correct, sir. There's no problem. No. Pay attention. He says, derive point by point out of it. Now, when you add all these points only, we understand the magnitude of the situation. Now, this you cannot say simply coming to a standstill, not possible. Therefore, they say, what is not fulfilled here, that unfulfilled desires here. Why this unfulfilled desires this side? Because the body is not able to cooperate. Another aspect. Derivation will go on and on. I don't know where to stop. I'll just give this and stop. Okay. The derivation means it will keep going. Another derivation here is the rate at which the body deteriorates vis-a-vis the rate in which the desires subside. There's no connection. The body quickly depletes, loses its power to experience. So once this body loses its power to experience that desire, what will I do with that? I have to leave it. That's what Krishna says in the Gita. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vikaya. Vani grinnati yauparani says. They all what, sir? Worn out garments, man. Garments are worn out. What do you do with a worn out garment? Of course, straight away you don't throw. Right? There are Indians, we don't throw straight away. What do? Use it for night dress. A t-shirt, there is a hole in a t-shirt. What do you do with that? You don't throw that straight away. Use it for the night. Use it to car wash. When you go for car wash, you wear that and go. Wash the car and come. To do some work like that. For that you use. After that also it is torn. Then what you do? Then also we don't throw that. Then we use it to clean. If that also gone, then what you do? Mop the floor. Then also what you do? After that, what you do? Charity is always there. Give it for charity. I'm just joking, huh? Okay. Don't take it, seriously. People don't do that, but still I'm just saying. Then only you discard it. Only then somewhere down the line you do discard. See, the moment you are not, but that doesn't mean one t-shirt you discard doesn't mean you go without t-shirt. Right? You need to have. Then you buy a new garment, new t-shirt, new shirt you buy, and you start wearing that. That dropping that old garment is what is referred as death. Buying a new garment is what is referred as birth. But the wearer is saying, it is a new garment. The tragedy of life. Most of the time, if the garment is changed, you cannot recognize. If you see me on road with shorts and t-shirt, you will not recognize me. Same Ishwaran, you will not recognize. I have seen a student of mine, I met him in Kadambam Hotel a long time back, not recently. This is about 20 years back. Kadambam Hotel, I used to go for lunch. The same hotel, this man was sitting there to have his coffee. He was having coffee, and I went for lunch. I picked up my lunch plate. I was searching for a place, and I saw him. Unfortunately, he also saw me. Since we saw each other, I went and sat there in front of him. I sat there, I looked at him, he looked at me. Quietly, he was drinking coffee. Not a word. It was looking a little strange for me. I thought, maybe this guy. Then next week, Sunday, I asked him, sir, you always come to Kadambam for coffee, is it? How do you know? He thought, I am some, Modi Mastan, Somehow I was able to read his, things. As I get last, Thursday, I saw you. You are there, no? Yeah, correct. How do you know that? He said, you remember the fellow who sat in front of you to have lunch? That was me. Apriya. He says, I could recognize you. Why? Because I was for last 1.5 years, he has been seeing me Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday with this uniform. So if I come in any other costume, he will not recognize me. He didn't recognize. After that, he was profusely apologizing, but I said it's good. So it's a good thing. I could teach you people that. Amazing one. That man is still coming to the class. Huh? I don't know whether he is there today. I have to search. It is so interesting to see those people. You need their garment. Same way, the subtle body puts up the gross body as a garment for it to contact the world. Why? To experience. Why it needs an experience? Because it has that desire. Once that desire is entertained, you have no choice but to go through all these things. And of course, there are other derivations also. Right? All this happens parallelly. And all this is what is referred here as numerous desires of different sorts remain unfulfilled when people die. Now, every word has a specific connotation here. More we'll see in the next class. Thank you.